There's a look at Kansas City, Missouri. Very close to where we are going today. Going over this kind of cool bridge here. Pretty cool looking city, from what I can tell. Once again, fellow people, welcome to another edition of Tommy Travels. It's Tommy Travels. You're hearing a lot of highway noise in the background probably because we're right next to a pretty main road here. I've been traveling quite a bit overnight and there was quite a bit of rain. It was quite a long trip, but where did we find ourselves? We found ourselves here today in Independence, Missouri, at a place called Leila's Hair Museum. Why would I travel this far to see a hair museum? Because it's the only hair museum in the entire world. So we gotta check it out. Nowadays, to have a museum dedicated to human hair seems a little macabre and creepy. But they have hair art going back to the 17th century. It used to be that if someone passed away, a person would want a lock of their hair as a remembrance. It was also given as a sign of love and affection, which today would be really creepy. But from what I understand, there is a lot of interesting things inside of this building right here. So let's go inside and see what there is to see. And so you're the owner?
Yes.
Leila?
Yes.
Yes.
And you pronounced it right. This one has 150 names on it, so it's genealogy done with human hair. What your great-grandmother was doing by lamplight before the camera was invented.
Wow.
Now, this one says friendship wreath, 86 names on it. Each one is numbered, so here's 11 and 83 and 84. These two came in from the Netherlands recently. That's flat work. That's different than this.
Mm-hmm.
And this little girl came in from Paris, France. She has her hair, her hat and clothes are real, and her feathers, and even an earring, but they didn't tell me her name.
Wow.
This one is from Scotland. It has the Celtic sign done all the way around in hair. It's also the hair of one person. That's unusual. Usually they're families. And she's wearing hair jewelry called a sepia, painted with hair in the 1700s. It's like the one that I've got. I like to imagine that I'm wearing the one that she is.
Oh my goodness, that is really
I know what's on the back. It says, "Near thee I keep thy dear remains." So in the picture I can't see what's on the back of hers, but maybe this is it.
That is so fascinating.
I wrote a book on how to do it.
Oh.
It only took me 60 years to write the book. The first 36 years I spent learning how to do all the other art forms because the antique dealers kept telling me it was like bob and lace, or it was like wheat weaving, or all of those other art forms. And I signed up and learned how to do every one of them, and it's not like any of them. So it's an art form of its own. My granddaughter said that I learned by reverse engineering. I cut them apart and put them back together until I figured out how to do it. And so 60 total years of the book. No one had written down the directions how to make the hair wreaths. You can find a lot of books on the jewelry, but you can't find any, or I couldn't find any, on the hair wreaths.
So this would have all been a lost art if it wasn't for you.
Well, yes, I like to think that. And so here is my book, The Lost Art of Hair Wreath Making. My second book is going to be pictures of people wearing the hair jewelry from 1839 on, the real pictures.
Oh.
I had collected those pictures, and then I realized that no one has ever written a book about that. And then my third book is going to be for a school teacher to teach young kids what 9-year-olds used to do. They didn't play Pokemon in those days. They did hair work. And so I have several made by 9-year-olds. And in that book then, I'm going to explain how the hair is, all the things that I think people should know about human hair, plus the fact the human body. That's what I'm putting in that third book. And that way school teachers can get it and teach it to children of today.
Oh, that's great.
My fourth book then is the one I started first, and that was to photograph every one of these in here. I have over 750. And I promise I won't talk about all of them. But there's 36 techniques to make everything in here. And then this one right here became my 37th technique.
This one right here?
Yes, these 3 little babies. If you look at this, there's a little wire twisted there on top. And that took me a while to figure out, but I can teach that now. And that's the 37th technique. This one is the only one in here that has this technique in it.
Wow.
3 little babies that have passed away. The mother put the same little outfit on all 3. That's called a hand-me-down. I'm guessing this one was probably about 4 years old when it passed, because I'm going by the amount of hair that it takes to make one of these.
Wow.
Ozzy Osbourne was here the other day, about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
His daughter and his son, and the family dog.
Oh, my gosh.
I cut a piece of his hair, and it'll be in here next.
Oh.
Recently looking at that, and I heard one of them whisper to the other, "Man, that had to be a big woman. He's thinking about it going on her wrist." I said, it's time for a little history lesson. Let's go back to 1918. The war was just over. Women bobbed their hair. They shortened their skirts. They danced the Charleston. They bared their arms, and they wore those on their forearms. They were called hair garters. That's why they're bigger. Now, when Ozzy was here the other day, I was talking about that one with that purple stone, telling him that story, and I had that laying up here on top. And I asked him to take off his hat. And, of course, they were filming. And I had my scissors and my comb in my pocket. And when he laid his hat down, I cut a piece of his hair, so I've got it for my music.
Oh.
Surprised him.
Yeah. That's awesome.
They decorated these with shells and with beads. This one is a hand-carved frame, hand-blown glass, but they didn't tell me the name of the family. This one I like because it has the date, 1883. It tells whose hair was used and where she placed them on the cross. So I love it when it comes with the handwritten material. This one is a man's name, Mel, 1877, his death date. When I found that one, it didn't have a glass or a frame. And when I cut, it was on a filthy background, and when I cut that letter E loose, it fell into 32 separate pieces.
Oh.
So I sewed it back together before I attempted to cut anything else, because it was all separate pieces.
Wow, that looks like some delicate work there.
Yes. This one says Germany, and the hand blowing glass, you can see the pock marks in it.
Yeah.
It's the only one on this wall that has any history with it. One of the questions that I've been asked many times, why do they look like caskets in the background? And I finally found an article in an old book that would explain that to me. My grandmother would have said that you only had one Sunday go-to-meeting dress, one everyday dress, but you didn't have fabric laying around. The funeral guy did, so you could take your box in, he would line it for you, and you would put in the wreath.
Oh.
So I finally found a story that explained why they look like caskets. This one looks like a family tree.
Yeah.
I don't know if each one of the branches is a separate child. That could be. The rest of these on this wall, I have no idea where they came from.
How did you acquire all of these?
Out of the 750 that are in here today, there's 15 of them that have been donated. The rest of them I bought with my Social Security money.
Oh my gosh.
I've been collecting since 1956. This one came up for sale on eBay. It says made by Grandmother Flanagan. I put a bid in on it, $300. The lady said she wanted $2,000. She was insulted when I offered her $300, and she let me know it. And then I waited a whole year. She came down on the price. I waited 2 years. She came down some more. The third year, she had it at $450, and I offered her $300 one more time, and she took it. Now, why did I want Grandmother Flanagan? Because somewhere in one of my many notebooks, I have an article about Grandmother Flanagan, so I want to put the two together.
Oh, okay.
Different people have asked me if I'm mixed up with Father Flanagan in Nebraska, Boys Town. I said, no, it's Grandmother Flanagan. And so I will find that article. This one, the lady explains the name of the family as well as the flowers of nature that she was copying. And this one was on a burlap background. And when I attempted to take it off and put in a lighter background where the hair would show, it was all glued down, and I had to take all that old hard glue off. So I missed one piece of that hard glue, but my employees haven't found it yet, and if they don't find it, I'm not going to take it off the wall to repair that one place.
Oh.
Here's Elvis up here. That is not his famous haircut. I had classes from his barber. And I have the one at home of Elvis that was cut when he went into the service. George Washington, I had read about a picture of a ring made from his hair, and I went up to Pennsylvania to the Arlington Cemetery, and over in the corner there's a building dedicated to George Washington, and I got to see his ring made out of his hair.
Oh my gosh.
Daniel Webster, I've got quite a bit of his hair. Ronald Reagan, his manicurist, is a friend of mine. I wrote to him when he was on the air out in California, and he sent me a copy of 113 of his speeches. I'll have him published one of these days. This is Michael Jackson, the day he got his hair burned in that Pepsi commercial.
Oh.
That's my favorite of the Beatles. That's why only one of them is in here, not the other three. That's John Kennedy. He was at Peter Lawford, his brother-in-law, the day that was cut. This is Norma Jean before she became Marilyn. Abraham Lincoln, quite a piece of his hair.
Wow.
Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton, that great duel. Even a piece of the pistol there. And I was going to tear out what was in there and frame that hair wreath. And when it arrived, I took one look at the picture and I wasn't about to tear it out. And I emailed the guy and said, can you tell me whose picture is in that frame that you just sold? And he emailed me back and said, no ma'am, I can't help you. So I emailed him one more time. I said, you have just sold a real picture of Abe Lincoln for $47, and no, you're not going to get it back.
Oh my goodness.
When I Googled it, it's the one on a $5 bill. And Abe is wearing a watch chain.
Oh my goodness.
So who would not know Abe Lincoln? I'll have it appraised one of these days.
So there it is right there.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That is fascinating. That was his real picture from that, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
I found out about the reliquaries. That's a reliquary with Mary's hair, Mother of Jesus. Here's the second one. That one, I enlarged it so you could see the hairs. This is a piece of the cross on top of a glass cross, and it was in that little box. And over there, they talk about Jesus' grandmother. Did you ever think about him having a grandmother?
No, I really didn't.
Her name is Anna, A-N-N-A. I said, we have St. Anne churches in America, and they said, you're pronouncing it wrong. It's Anna. So I found out that this picture here of Mary, when she was 9 years old, with Anna, her mother,
Oh,
was
wow.
taken just before Anna passed away.
Oh my goodness.
And that's the picture that I saw more all over the world than any other. So that's why I put it in here.
Wow.
I had a Methodist minister in here recently, and he had never studied about Jesus' grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a great-grandmother, so I find it interesting that we leave her out. Ask me how important I am. If it wasn't for me, my daughter wouldn't be here, who has my granddaughter, who has my 2 great-grandkids.
Yeah.
And now I've got one more on the way.
Oh my goodness, congratulations.
So, thank you. A lot of people don't live that long. And to have 3 great-grandkids, another 6 months, I'll have the 3rd one. I don't know why we leave Jesus' grandmother out, why she isn't more prominent. This right here, we after we went to Italy, then we went to Scotland. And this came up for sale on eBay. It's called Veronica's Veil. Veronica's the lady that loaned Jesus her shawl, and supposedly he wiped his face. And a priest had these drawings made. That's on a piece of cloth. You can see the red seal. I put a bid in on it, a real cheap bid, and then I remembered, I'm going to be gone 12 days. I'm not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
So I called my son and explained my predicament to him and asked him if he would bid on it for me while I was gone. And I explained to him what it was. And he said, Mom, you don't think you're going to get that? And I said, sure I do. I'm the most positive person you ever met, so yes. When I got home, nobody had bid against me. So I'm the only one, and I got it for my cheap bid.
Oh, wow.
Then later I read in the 16th century, a priest had all these destroyed. Well, he didn't get this one. And I wonder how many others were hidden from him.
Wow.
Now I'm pursuing that story. Why would he have them all destroyed? So I don't know.
So this is, what is this one?
Jesus' grandmother, her hair,
Her hair.
Saint Anna.
Now how do you know that that is really her hair?
Says so right there.
Okay.
Saint Anna.
Wow. That is really cool.
People ask me if I'm Catholic when I'm showing Mary's hair in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, no, I'm Methodist. And they wonder why I have Mary's hair, and I talk about Jesus' grandmother, Anna. I think it's because priests usually have those reliquaries and you don't see them in places like this.
Mm-hmm.
But if a priest had that, you wouldn't have seen it this morning.
Yeah, that's true.
And so why do I have it? Because I pass out my postcards everywhere I go, all over the world, and then when I get home, people start contacting me.
Mm-hmm.
That second one that I bought with Mary's hair, do you remember not too long ago when ISIS destroyed those two big Buddhas in that mountain? Well, it was 3 weeks later that the lady called me about that one. She said they're destroying everything Christian over here. So I feel like it'll be safer in America. So that's why she told me she sold it to me.
My goodness.
So,
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I think that's neat. And look at all the people that get to see Mary's hair in here, where if a priest had those, nobody would see it.
Yeah, that's true.
They put them away. So I like to share mine with people.
Thank you very much for this tour today.
Thank you.
Had no idea what to expect when I came in here, and boy, was it worth the trip out here.
Thank you. And come back because I've got another room with about 50 in it that I'll be opening up next. So my collection will go over 800.
Wow. Keeps growing and growing.
Keeps growing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys again very much for hanging out with me today. I cannot believe all of the history and artifacts that were available in that museum. In this little building, way out here, I'm so glad I made the trip. My goodness. And if you liked what you saw today and you liked this video, please go ahead and hit like and subscribe on my YouTube channel. And then you can be notified when a new video comes out. You can also see sneak previews of next week's video just by going to TommyTravels.fun. And on there are links to my Facebook and Instagram, so you can follow me there as well. And once again, thank you guys. It was an absolute blast coming down here today. And I hope to catch you guys on the flip side.